sweet yellow bird fly away into the sun.
All right, you know, I don't usually mention the theme music that we use for our guests. That's Lindsey Buckingham, and I don't think I've ever even mentioned who that is, by the way. But I want to mention it right now because Lindsey Buckingham, one of the members of Fleetwood Mac, was a great influence to me. Maybe after the fact. I mean, most of my influences in music were when I was really, really young. Beatles, Elton John, Paul Simon, people like that. Growing up in New York, that was probably not unusual to have those influences. And then when I moved to Florida, a lot of the southern songwriters that I didn't become exposed to suddenly started to become in my consciousness, if that makes sense. I became more aware of them. And then I found this whole folk scene here in Central Florida with people like John Sims and his mom who passed away. And what's her name, Robin? Mim Sims, yeah.
Yes.
Am I saying right? She did pass away?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Yes, she did.
Okay, I'm just drawing a blank right there. If I'm getting, I hope I didn't say anything wrong. But anyway, but my whole point was that there was this folk scene. I loved the folk scene, and here's why I loved it. Because it wasn't on a record, it wasn't on a radio, it was there on a wooden stage in the middle of the Ocala National Forest or Rainbow Springs or some other park. And it was just so cool to see music the way probably God intended it to. You know, I don't know. I mean, I love recorded music, so don't get me wrong. But I love just being someplace and hearing somebody. We went to a state park, Robin and you and I did, and we off in the distance, we heard a fiddler, a violinist.
Oh, yeah. That was cool.
Fiddler, I guess, based on what he was playing. And so, wow, where's that coming from? It's so beautiful. It's just like wafting its way through the trees. And I found him on the porch of a, I guess you would say a shed. Right?
Yes.
Or a wood, like a log cabin kind of a place, which was actually a store.
Yeah.
You know, they were selling jelly and things in there. It was just such a cool feeling, and I just loved it. Bob Melton is in the studio, and we got to know Bob kind of through that whole networking thing we did with that whole folk part of what I was trying to summarize in real quickly. And Bob has a history. Goes back decades in music, and in fact, a couple of duos that I recognize the names of that I didn't know I was going to recognize the names of. Actually, you started out in Tennessee, so not a bad place to start for a musician. Bob Melton is here to promote a new CD and some other projects that he's doing. Bob, I hope I have your microphone turned on. Good morning.
I hope so too.
I don't hear it. Hold on. I know this is all new stuff over here. Are you there?
Hello, it's a great place.
There you are.
Yes, beautiful studio. This is going to be fantastic.
Where do you live now?
I live right down on Highway 200 here, just a few miles.
This makes it easy,
yes.
coming to the mall, huh?
It does.
You know, it's not bad eye candy, too, by the way. Don't tell any of the ladies that we say this.
Yeah, no, I can't hear you. My headphones
Because we allow this to happen. We just pretend we're looking at the weather.
What's nice, it's nice scenery out the window here.
Yeah.
That's a great addition.
That's nice. So on a serious note, I mean, you've been making music since you were a toddler? Is that right?
Well, pretty much, yes. I've been singing all my life. I started in choirs like a lot of kids, and really was a singer before I became a guitarist, and actually started playing the guitar just to have something to do while I was singing with my hands, rather than.
And it made it sound so much nicer, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, when you got that guitar going.
There you go.
Why did you want to sing? Was there somebody you heard? Was it Hank Williams or something like that?
Hank Williams was really actually my first influence. I was born in Tennessee, and East Tennessee, and was pretty close to Nashville, and we listened to the Grand Ole Opry every Saturday night. And when I was 4 or 5 years old, I started singing, Lonesome Lovesick Blues and everything else.
Did you ever play the Grand Ole Opry?
No, I never have.
No?
I've been there many times backstage with different shows.
But you've played the Orange Blossom Opry, right?
I play the Orange Blossom Opry a lot, yes.
I love the Orange Blossom Opry.
Great place.
Isn't that another wonderful place where people get together just for the love of music? There's really one thing in common, and that's that love of music.
It's an amazing venue. It's the only place like it that I've ever been that's that has that same atmosphere. It's a it's a theater, it's a auditorium, it's a family, really. All the folks that go there just are there every week, and you get to know them. I've been there almost, I guess, at least 3 years now. I was spending a lot of time in Atlanta over the last couple of years, but I always made a point to. Had to come down here to at least a week out of the month to spend some time mowing grass and things like that at my house. So I always made a point to visit the Opry when I was down, and I've kind of kept that going. And it's just a great place. I love being there.
It really is. And for those who don't know about it, if I can give them a little plug for just to, you know why I'm doing it for the listeners is more than I am for them, because they don't need any more. They've got a huge audience.
They have a great.
But the truth is, this is right in Lake Weir.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right, or is it Akawaha?
Yeah.
Weirsdale.
Weirsdale. Okay.
Yes.
Weirsdale. It's the old
schoolhouse. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's an elementary school.
Was
maybe.
it Lake Weir High School? Oh, elementary school. Okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's right here. It's right down the road. Well, here's how Robin and I discovered it. We became Rhonda Vincent fans. Okay, by watching a DVD, and I said, "Man, I love this group. I love this lady. I love the music that they're making." And we watched this DVD, and then I said, "I wonder if she's got a website. We'll go to the website. Where's Rhonda Vincent playing? Weirsdale or Lake Weir, whatever." I said, Weirsdale. Where?
She's coming here?
That can't be the same Weirsdale. We took a drive over there, and we saw this building. We said, "Really? What does it look like inside?" Could not believe it. So
it's amazing.
Oh, it's great.
Absolutely great.
They've done a fantastic job of upgrading it. It's a really nice theater now. I mean, and the house band there is equaled by none. They're just as,
they're awesome.
They're as good as you guys that have played.
Yeah, Ray Gantek and all his guys.
And these guys, these guys play with the biggies, and they play with the littlies.
And they before being there, most of them have been on the road with big acts. Buddy, the drummer, was with Charlie Daniels for probably 15 years.
Isn't that amazing?
On the road with him, and they've all done got amazing credits. And one to show what a small world it is, Brian Goodpasture, who is now playing fiddle there after. Gosh, I can't think of his name. The great fiddler that was there for so long.
Did he leave?
Yes, he's gone. He's had a lot of health problems, but world champion fiddler.
Right.
What's his name? That's terrible that I can't.
Oh, my mind's a blank now.
But anyway,
I loved that guy. I mean, I didn't know him, but I mean, I loved his music. I loved his playing. Great. He had so much rosin. Was he unusual? He had so much rosin on the violin itself, or the fiddle, whatever you want to call it. Right. Somebody once explained to me the difference between a violin and a fiddle, and I can't. It's got something to do with where the strings cross. Is that the nut, whatever it is?
I'm not sure.
The bridge.
I thought it was all in the way they played it.
I'm not sure. Somebody else could explain it one day. So tell me about your music.
But. Okay, well, I was going to finish. Brian Goodpasture, who's now the fiddle and plays some steel when Ray's playing different instruments, but spent a lot of time in Fort Pierce, where I grew up, playing with a lot of the same musicians that I did, and I was really surprised when I ran into him. And
maybe that kind of speaks to the point I was trying to make about the folk scene that I discovered here. Is that the other scene that I enjoyed, I found inaccessible. I worked for a little while at the Nassau Coliseum in New York, and I would be right there with the groups that I loved: Elton John, Billy Joel, Styx, you name them. But I couldn't get next to them. I couldn't hang out with them, except for America. You know the guys from America. They kind of were open, and you could kind of hang out with them a little bit. But even hanging out with them isn't the same as the folk scene. The folk scene, I mean, you're playing with them. So I just think it's awesome. So let's go to your music. You started as a little kid. So when was the first time you set foot in a recording studio? What was that? Tell that story.
I made my first record with a band called the Sand Trippers in 1967.
How old were you?
I was what was that? 20.
20. Okay.
19, 20, something like that. And we had won a Battle of the Bands, and the first prize was a big Battle of the Bands, and we won a recording contract.
And where was that?
It was with Paris Tower Records out of Tampa, Florida.
Wow.
We went over and made the record. The thing I remember most about that was it was a nice recording studio, great facility for the time, good engineer. It was a quality. They did a quality job, but every time a semi would stop or take off from the red light outside the studio, you'd have to stop and start over because you could hear the
right.
But
so what'd you make, a single?
We made a single, and it was it was on, like I said, on the Paris Tower label. It was not released nationally or anything like that, but it was released, locally there.
But it must have been the thrill of a lifetime at that point.
Oh, it was, sure. It was like...
So when you first got the record, do you remember that? Actually seeing the vinyl with your guys, your name? How many guys in the band?
There was 5 of us in the band.
And what were you called again?
The Sand Trippers. We were a very popular band on the East Coast and all up to, even up through Orlando and places. We played a lot of college dances and teen clubs and radio station, things at armories, and played with a lot of name bands at the time. And the funny thing about that group is, after all these years, just recently, over the last year or two, a lot of things have just been coming back to the surface with that band. We were featured on a GarageBand several of them websites where that has become a cult following for 60s garage bands from the United States, and they're followed by people all over the world. I didn't find out about this until someone said, "Hey, there's a guy from Sydney, Australia, on one of these little websites for 60s garage bands that's looking for your record and has been looking for it for 10 years and can't find it."
Wow!
It's at the top of his. It's the most sought after record.
And what's the title of that one?
It was called "Say You Love Me."
Okay.
Was the name of the record, and so I emailed this guy and ended up selling him a copy of it for an exorbitant price, which I won't even.
No way.
Yes.
Did you just ask for the price and he paid it?
Yes. Yeah.
For a single vinyl record.
Yes.
Oh, come on! How much?
$850.
Oh no!
Wow! Wow!
He tried to get me to come down to $600, but I said no. That's what I want for it, and he said, "Okay."
Wow!
Got it. And so,
man,
wow,
that's awesome. I love that story.
That was just.
What's his story? I mean, why did he fall in love with that song?
Because it wasn't really that he had fallen in love with the song, because he'd never heard the record.
What?
He wasn't really that concerned. It was just that he was in part of collecting these garage bands.
Right.
A lot of these collectors go after the record label itself, trying to collect all the cuts that were ever released on that label. And the label, Paris Tower, out of Tampa, Tampa, Florida, had released 134 singles on various different groups. And the goal in these collectors is to get everything that was ever released on that label. Ours was the only record that he had not been able to locate from that label. So for 10 years he had every record on their label except ours, and ours was I'm sure the rarest one of all, because it was not distributed. Very few of them were printed even, and so it was the rarest one. That's some kind of a distinction, I guess.
So amazing.
Do you know I ordered a Kindle Fire? It hasn't arrived yet. It left Memphis yesterday. I looked on the FedEx thing.
Yep.
Now, why am I telling you about this? Because last night I'm looking at the tracking thing, wondering, I'm so excited to get this thing, and Amazon sends me a letter, and it says, if you would like to load your music onto your Kindle Fire, you don't have to wait for it to arrive. You can do it right now. And so you go through this process, and you basically upload it to the cloud, so that by the time the device arrives here, all the music that I've ever recorded onto my computer is now accessible on this little handheld device. So now that record you're talking about easily could be in the cloud somewhere. And I mean, isn't that amazing that kind of technology is available? And and at the same time, I don't know if it cheapens it or not, the fact that you can get things so easily now. There was a song in 1977 that came out that I loved. And at that time, I was with Curb Records in Los Angeles, which was was a Warner Brothers label. And it had nothing to do with the label. It's just a song I loved. But there's a reason for mentioning the Curb Records thing. The song was called Flame. I can't even remember the guy's name. I heard it on the radio driving into the offices where the Curb Records was on Sunset Boulevard. And I said, have you guys heard this song, Flame? And the receptionist just says, God, I hate that song. I said, you're kidding me. It's a beautiful song. How can you hate the song? She goes, oh, it's not going anywhere. I hate that song. So then after that, I went to this guy, Dick Holler, who's the guy who wrote Abraham, Martin, and John. And he was the guy I worked with. And I said, have you ever heard this song, Flame? He goes, oh, yeah. It's going nowhere. I hate that song. I said, you're kidding me. I said, I bet all of you're wrong. I bet everybody here that becomes a #1 song. Well, guess who was wrong? Me.
Oh.
I was the wrong one, yes. And so that record was the equivalent of this guy who wanted to get your record, and I can't find it anywhere. But I did find it on YouTube. Like somebody had just recorded it, kind of a scratchy recording.
Well, that's one of the problems I'm having right now with that record is I need to get it digitized somehow. It hasn't. I have never gotten it transferred from the 45 RPM original to the to a digital format, because right now, in fact, we've also, and this is totally unrelated to the garage band scene, but the assistant music professor or director at Florida Atlantic University is writing a book right now. He's in the process of doing a book about surfing in Florida and the different eras of it, and in combining Florida surf music along with it too.
So the song that you sold for $800, the record, that's like it's like a Beach Boy sound.
Well, we were a Beach Boy cover band, and we were originally. Now we did a lot of other stuff as time went on, but we started off strictly as pretty much a Beach Boy cover band, surfing music.
Right.
And that's what we were most popular for, and we were as it turns out through his research, we were the only surf band from that time that were actually surfers, because 3 of us out of the 5 of us were avid surfers, and that's how we started the band. Really, was when there was no waves, we'd sit out there singing Beach Boys songs and harmonizing, and got our act together.
Cool.
And
that's cool.
So now I've already sent him photos of us that he's including in his book in a chapter about surf music from that era.
Right.
And he's also doing a CD that's in connection with it of surf music from that time. So he's wanting to include our record, if I can.
So now all you have is you don't have the tape that the vinyl was made from?
Something I do somewhere, but it's a quarter. What I have is a little 1/4-inch reel-to-reel somewhere, but I have no idea where it is.
Well, we might be able to help you with that. I know before we moved, we had a turntable hooked up. Here in the new studio, I don't know if that'll ever happen.
My problem is I've moved so many times over the last few years that I'm not sure where it is, even though I am certain that I do have it somewhere. But the main thing, the best source I have that I can lay my hands on immediately is a copy of the 45, and I think there's a place here in Ocala where I can get that done.
I hope so.
And I need to get it done very soon, because
I like the description of the different genres that you covered, especially when you wrote coconut country on your bio, because I've not heard that genre before.
Well, it's that I consider a lot of the things that are coming out these days, to be that, and I think I'm not the one that coined that. It's one that I picked up from, but I think it's very appropriate for a lot of the that kind of there's kind of a niche of country music that really falls into that classification for sure. Zach Brown is, very, indicative of that style. But, there's a lot of, Garth Brooks did, 2 Pina Coladas, and It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
Jackson. There's just a lot. There's a lot of that. A lot more of that coming out all along. So there's a few songs on my album CD that kind of fall into that classification. In fact, I didn't actually, but a friend of mine heard my "Why Not Me," the Lottery song on one of the outlaw country shows on
really?
Sirius Radio not
cool.
too long ago.
Wow.
Cool.
So it some of the stuff gets some play, and that's a really unusual song. I'm sure I jinxed myself from ever, being able to win the lottery, but it was fun writing the song, and it's a great.
You'll say that until you actually win the lottery. Then you'll say, you know what? I blessed myself with that song. I'm jinxed until I win it. Then I'm blessed.
Right.
So you have a new CD coming out now, or just came out, or
no? I'm working on one, but I'm trying to get myself back into the mode of finishing up the tunes that I have to finish writing some of it's recorded. I have it about half done, but I need to finish about 6 songs that I'm in the process of writing that I just can't. I won't say can't, that I haven't been able to yet make myself sit down and finish writing.
So have you become your own studio like many musicians have? They have a program now in their Apple computer or whatever computer, and they are doing what they used to do with this gigantic building and reel-to-reels.
I do have that capability. As soon as I learned all the ins and outs of it, I have a real nice Cakewalk Sonar producer program in my computer. I have a little synthesizer that does great sound bits and stuff that I can do. It's unlimited really what I can do with it.
I got a keyboard. I paid a few $100s for it. And it's got a button on it. I go, hold that. It's like, wow, this is my favorite button. Hold that.
Everybody should have one of those.
Why do you need a button that does that?
I don't know. I guess you can assign any kind of patch you want. Mine is actually I use a machine that they probably don't make anymore. I don't think it's a Roland DR5, which is actually set up, the keys on it. The keypad is set up like the neck of a guitar. So when you're playing, when you're playing the instruments, the guitar, the bass. And even the piano, you don't have to convert it to. I'm not a keyboard player, so I'm a guitar player. So it's very easy for me. I can convert, keyboard parts or anything. Play piano parts on it, fiddle parts.
Right.
Anything.
And going back to the guys at the Orange Blossom Opry, that's one of the things. I've always been reluctant to embrace the technology because I kind of like just the idea of if the electricity goes out, we can still play. I like the idea of being able to play in the woods or something like that. But still, I mean, you have to be impressed by it. And you want to know something, just because you can make a guitar sound like a saxophone, it takes talent still to be able to play it.
Play it like a saxophone, so that it sounds like a saxophone.
Right, and make sure you don't go out of range.
Now, Ray Gantek is excellent.
Yeah,
with the guitar. He has a program. It's like a ARP synthesizer.
He's a virtuoso.
Right.
Oh yeah, on his it's amazing the horn parts he can play.
Robin knows this about me, and she probably will tell me later on. You were in your element when Bob was in there, weren't you?
Yes,
and I am. I'm in my element. I love talking music, and my goodness, it's good to see you. Bob had sent me a message on Facebook, and apparently I missed it.
Oh.
Well, here's the problem.
Well, you get a lot.
And then I saw another message, and it said, "Guess not." 2 words, guess not.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And I said, I must have missed something. So I hurt somebody's feelings again. So yesterday we had a guest. Bob. Listen to this. She wrote a book, young lady, somewhere out in the country somewhere.
She's in California.
Yeah, whatever.
Now.
And I said, oh, by the way, I noticed that you made me a Twitter or something. You tweeted whatever you did with me.
You tweeted me.
She goes, yeah, but you didn't tweet me back. I said, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Was I supposed to do that? I don't know. So here's what happens on Facebook. You got this thing on the top. It was like a cartoon balloon or something, right? You click on the cartoon balloon, you got like 30 different things.
Yes.
Okay, well, who said what? Here's this one, here's that one. Okay. Well, as soon as you click on it, that little red thing goes away.
Yeah.
So it's like, done. Okay, I'm done. Mm-hmm. So that's what happens. I miss people's messages.
Oh, I do all the time. That's a crazy.
You're always invited on the show. Don't depend on Facebook. The most dependable way.
And I appreciate that.
And this is for everybody. The most dependable way to get a hold of us is just call and ask for Robin
on the phone.
Because if you call and ask for me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't come right now.
Well,
I'm in production, which means I'm in the bathroom. I'm producing a spot over here.
I did want to, before we get done, just mention quickly, though, a few of the things that I've got that I'm going to be doing right here locally.
And websites. We need a website, too.
Yeah, my website is www.bobmelton.com. That's MELTON.com.
Okay.
And it's all one word. And on the home page there, you can scroll down. It'll show you where I'm playing, where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at doing a lot of things at Cody's Roadhouse in the Villages.
Nice.
I was supposed to be there last night, and it got rained out, but I'll be there next Saturday. I'll be there several times in September and October, and I'm going to be also doing some things over at Eaton's Beach, which is going to be reopening
Yeah.
sometime within the next month.
Yeah, that's reopening soon.
I'm planning for a private party over there, just to kind of for the employees and sponsors, and I'm playing for them next Friday, and then next Saturday I'll be up in Georgia in Statesboro playing for the first Georgia Southern University home game with with my old partner Kermit, as Kermit Thomas Bob again.
Wow, congratulations.
Is that your music right there?
It is.
It is? It must be from when you were here before.
It is. It is.
All right. I just kind of took a chance. I didn't mean to stop. I didn't mean for it to play while you were talking, but
No, that's okay. That's the title cut from my last CD.
All right.
Living in these hard times.
well, we'll have to use that as an exit music, outro music. Bob Melton, good to see you again.
One other last place, I'm going to be also down at Lake Panasoffkee at the pier. I'll be there several times. I'll be there on September the 20th. I'll be there again on October the 19th. And got a lot of things coming up there, and a bunch of other places around here too. So
nice.
So you can see them all. You can check those all out on my website and everything else.
Which is bobmelton.com.
Yes.
And here he is right here in the music. Bob, thank you for coming in.
I really appreciate it. It's great to see y'all again, and I always enjoy talking with you, Larry.
Great. You're always welcome back. Just don't use that Facebook thing.
Call me.
I'll call you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank y'all.
We'll take
Bye
a break and be right back.
No, don't judge me by these hard times. All the miles in between us, Lord knows the times.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen.